Hey everybody, you're watching Good Company with my buddy Scott Bolin right here.
Kurt Thomas right here. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey guys, my name's Scott Bowling and you're watching Good Company. Today we have a special episode. This is our 50th episode. Kurt Thomas was on our first episode. He wrote a song called Good Company, inspired me to do the show.
Oh.
Dude, thank you, man.
Dude, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
50 episodes, brother.
50.
Man, I love, well actually I don't love going back and watching the first one.
No, dude, that's the same way with records, believe
it?
it. Oh God, man, I'll go back and listen to old records and just be like, and that's nothing against the sound quality or production, anything.
Right.
It's against me, my songwriting. I'll go back and be like, oh no, that's so bad. But then people are like, man, I love that, and I'm like, I'm glad you love it, man. I'm glad you do.
It's funny if you have a few drinks and you're like, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. That's a rule of life, isn't it, man?
Yeah, man.
A few drinks, it's all good.
Dude, and today we got to play Good Company, man.
Good Company.
So the reason I started this show was like, originally I was gonna do like a podcast, and you were telling me like you have this awesome man cave area,
Sure.
and you've done a couple music videos, and you're like, man, you should record, film some stuff down here.
Absolutely.
So, and you encouraged me to keep going.
You
man.
had the ultimate man cave.
Yeah.
I like ultimate man cave.
Oh, thank you.
It's
I appreciate
amazing.
it. But anyway, yeah, man. And so thank you for just kind of helping me through this whole process, man. 50 episodes, brother. I didn't know it'd
Thank
be
you
like
for
this,
being
man.
such a good friend.
Oh, thank you, man.
How long have we known each other?
Forever. Forever.
Forever.
So I guess we're gonna kind of do this interview again because I didn't have all these fancy props.
No, I love it.
Your first record.
This
Yes.
is great.
Who
I
drew
love
the cover, man?
That was
some fancy
Don
artwork.
McElliott. Don McElliott. He was a buddy of mine from high school. He's still one of my best friends. I love him. And he's always cutting me down and everything. I love him. Love him. He's always calling me a wimp on Facebook
Is he?
and all. I love him. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Is that you he
He
drew?
gets the whole class
Does he?
joining in, making fun of me.
Wow.
I love it. But yeah, he drew this, and I called him out. I was like, "Can you draw me an album cover? I'm actually going to put out an album." And in Dahlonega, not a lot of people at that time had put out records, and man, like for hometown boy like me to do that was actually kind of a big deal at the time. It was big. I've heard of big fish in a little pond. I was like the only fish in the pond, at the time. So, it was really nice, and it was so cool. And this is one of those where most of the songs on it, even though lyrically I'm like, hey, they're not so great, but they all have the people I wrote them with, like Jonathan Underwood and Stephen Boston and all these guys, Jonathan White. My brother was on Hang On with me, and but just it was so cool.
These songs, like, did you write a bunch of songs before this album, or you're like, I gotta write some songs?
This is all I had at the time. Everything. It was
Really?
It was win, lose, or draw.
When did you start writing? Was this high school?
No, it was fresh out of high school. I mean, I was about 19, and I got these 10 songs. I was like, I think I had 11, and one of them didn't make the cut.
Oh.
I can't even imagine how bad that one was, but it was it was a very cool moment in my life.
Where'd you guys record this at?
MLD Productions. It's over in Maysville, Georgia, and just a cool little Mayberry-looking town. And man, Lee Davis was his name, greatest piano player. But he's the one who truly taught me to be a songwriter, because I was writing all these songs, and he heard something in me. He liked my voice, and he was like, I want you to come back and do another record. And I was just like, I can't afford that, brother. I was like, I put all my eggs in this basket. And he let me come back and record the second record for free.
Wow.
Because he loved me.
Wow, that's cool.
And such a good friend. He's, to this day, people are like, who taught you to be a songwriter? And I'm like, Lee Davis. I was like, because every week I'd come back to record, and I'd be like, I'd bring in another new song. And most of them are bad, but there's a rule of songwriting where you got to write like, it's not a perfect rule, but you got to write like 10 songs to get one good one, or one worth listening to. And
Back in Georgia, man.
yeah, that's the one worth
good
listening
song.
to. On there.
I love that song. You should re-record it, man.
I would love to. I would love to do Back in Georgia sometime.
But yeah, that's cool. And so I actually got this other thing right here. Look, we blew up all your thank yous and everything.
Oh.
Dwayne Pinion's on it.
Oh, Wayner.
Bunch of people.
Oh, some of my favorite people. A lot of them I'm still friends with today. But Lewis David was the drummer. He was the one who took me over to MLD Productions. And he was like, let's put all our money together and we'll go over here and record a record. And I was like, I'm not so sure about that, brother. I'm like, they had to talk me into it because I was just like, I think I'm gonna fall on my face on this one. But thank God, Louis talked me into going over there.
Were you guys playing a lot of shows live?
Oh man, we played everywhere.
Was this before, I'll take this from you, is this before Wiley's?
Oh no, it's during the time of Wiley's.
About the same? Wiley's in Dahlonega, so that's where you were from.
Whenever we
right?
first started, my first band actually was me, Zach Brown, Radford Wyndham, and Matt Brown, and no relation to Zach. But
I was about to ask that.
But man, we started a little group. We called ourselves Dahlonega, and Zach was real good on guitar, and we could all harmonize really well. And I think we played 2 gigs, and then everybody graduated. Most people went off to college, and I stuck around Dahlonega and started the small town band. And man, when it comes to getting going, you got to play. To get your name out there, you just have to play everywhere. Like, I remember we just got a Walmart in Dahlonega, and we was listening to the Dahlonega radio station. We're up here broadcasting live at the Walmart. And I was like, I called up all my buddies, my fiddle player and Ryan Pierce. I was like, everybody get your instruments, get up to the Walmart. And we run up there, and it was snowing, dude. Snowing. And my fiddle player, remember, like he was shaking, and we were just, and they felt so sorry for us. They let us play half a song over the air. They were like, we got like 20 seconds, guys. They're like, you want it? Like, yeah, we want it. Absolutely. And every benefit, every fundraiser, anything that I found out about, read in the Dahlonega Nugget, I was like, everybody read the Nugget. If you see anything going on, I'll call them up and see if they need free live music. And eventually we built up a name enough to where we could finally charge $50, for a whole band.
I love Dahlonega, though. Did you guys ever record anything with Zach?
Believe it or not, me and Zach recorded over at my friend George's house. And George McKenzie was his name. That was the first person to ever record me.
Wow.
And it was me and Zach. And the funny part was the guy who was recording us says, y'all should call yourselves, what's the name of the stone that's fake? Cubert zirconium or something?
You're asking the wrong person, brother.
Cubert zirconium, something like that. He wanted us to name it that because he thought my name started with a C. And Zach's was a Z. And till this day, whenever I see Zach, he'll go, hey, Chert, because he calls me Chert.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, he'll go, Chert. He goes, when are we going to get Cubert zirconium back together? And I'm like, anytime you want, my brother.
Yeah, man, I remember you used to talk about Zach back in the day with chicken fry and everything and different versions of it.
Oh, yeah, man.
He gave you, can you tell that story about, he gave you your first guitar or he sold you his
He
first?
sold me. Yeah, he didn't give it to me.
He didn't give it to you.
I wish he would have gave it to me.
How much you pay for it? It's like $200?
No, it's $80.
$80.
$80. I was in high school, and I wanted to learn how to play guitar. And I saw Jay Drummond's playing at a FFA banquet. I was big in the FFA, it's Future Farmers of America back then. Now it's Future for Agriculture. And that's actually what I wanted to be, an ag teacher. And I grew up, around the farm, so that's what I wanted to do. So, but then the music bug hit me.
Ruined you.
I've always said, man, you don't find music. Music finds you. And I'm like, so I'd heard music, and I loved it. I loved music, but man, when that bug hits you to where you want to play, man, it's like you'd rather do that than eat when you're hungry. So it's, what were we talking about?
I don't know. I kind of forgot too. But you know what though? When you were saying that,
yes, the guitar.
The guitar. $80 guitar.
$80 guitar. Yes. So he's. I remember this kid who's always walking around in high school with a guitar. Never see that kid without a guitar in his hand, all the time. And I was just like, wonder if he has an extra one. So I go over there and I ask him, and I was like, hey Zach, I'm Kurt. I was like, can I buy a guitar from you? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'll sell you one of my cheaper guitars. I was like, absolutely. And it was an Oscar Schmidt. I bought it from him for $80, and it's still hanging on my wall.
Oh, that's so
at
cool.
the house. So.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And when you were saying that, going back, when did you realize you could sing? I mean, who?
Oh, believe it or not, you might be the first person I've ever told this to, but the first time I had a hint that I could sing, I was in like 7th grade, and do you remember a movie called Heartbreak Hotel?
I know
in the 80s, where they kidnapped Elvis and took him home. The teenage boys, they kidnap Elvis, bring him home, and Elvis sings to their mother, and he sings a song called "Love Me." And I was in the kitchen, and that was on it. And it was that line where he goes, "All I ask is please, please love me." And I heard that, and I've always liked mimicking things. I like sounding like people and stuff.
Yeah, you're good at
and
that.
I did that, and I was like, my God, that sounded just like that. Maybe I can sing. Then a buddy of mine, his name is Bobby Turner, let me borrow the No Fences Garth Brooks cassette tape. And I went home and I was listening to Unanswered Prayers, and I started singing along with that. Sometimes I thank God. I was sitting there listening to that, and I was like, man, I sound like this guy. I thought maybe I can sing. So what I made the ultimate mistake. Don't ever make this mistake. Young people thinking about singing. I went and put on some headphones, hit record on my tape player, and only had like just me singing with no music. I went back and listened to that thing, man. I was like, I am so awful. I was like, man, I didn't sing again for 4 years.
4
man.
years?
I was like, I could have been singing all through high school.
So you just gave it up for 4 years.
Yes.
What made you go back after 4 years?
Well, believe it or not, I wanted to learn how to play guitar. Because I was like, I can't sing, but maybe I can learn how to play guitar. And I think I was playing around Zach. Now, of course, my wife, who's still my wife today, we were dating at the time. We were high school sweethearts, and she always told me, she's like, you can sing. I was like, no, I can't. I'm not good. But then I was over there singing American Pie while Zach was playing it, and he was like, Kurt, you sound a lot like that whenever he sings. I was like, really? I was like, maybe it was the headphones.
Yeah.
I was like, I just wasted 5 years of music on
Did you still
bad
have that
headphones. Such is my life, you know.
No. That's cool that Zach encouraged you to.
He did. He encouraged me a lot. I mean, he helped me get going whenever I moved to Atlanta.
Why wasn't he on the first record then?
He was in West Georgia at the time I made
Okay, so
that.
he moved.
Yeah, he was trying to make his own way. I think he was part of a Christian rock band at the time. He was just playing guitar. He wasn't even singing in the band. He was.
Wow, I never knew that.
We all have to pave our own way, and we're out there, trying to get established. We were both trying to get established. We were just in 2 different spots at the time, and of course his spot worked out very well because he was in West Georgia. He was able to get that college following. Then he hits Marietta with the Dixie Tavern.
Yeah.
Starts playing there every Friday night. People come piling in. They fall in love with chicken fried, whatever it is. Next thing you know, bam.
So you went back to the studio with Lee Davis, right, for your second. This is where I met you too.
Oh,
yeah. Look at that.
I'm surprised you even talked to me. Look at me.
Look at that.
Look at how cheesy.
You wore that jacket to work, and you were proud of it.
Yes, I was. I was
You're proud of it.
Man, I was cool.
And you were cool.
No, I wasn't. Not at all. Now, this is a cool picture. I should have put that on the front.
Yeah, what happened?
Believe it or not, I have a hard time selling this CD today at my shows because that's all people want to talk about. Wow, look at you. I'm like, oh, geez, man. I'm like, just go download it off iTunes, please. But this one had I love some of the, I was really becoming a songwriter.
I love this album. Man, it's such a step up from your first record.
Yeah,
it's so much like catchy and
Yeah,
songwriting just got.
This is where Lee kind of took, those songs off the first record was just me and a couple of high school buddies writing songs. This was the one where I was bringing in songs and he'd be like, nope, go home, write another one. And whenever I'd hit one, man, that's what you look for. You're like, I want to go in and impress this guy. So he'll be like, that one's going on the record, that one. And eventually we hit 10 of them where he's like, all right, we got 10, let's make a record. I was like, yes. I mean, if you have a goal to shoot for, it's kind of nice. But he loved how I would use these, he called them hooks, but love might be blind, but it sure found me. Boy, what a girl. So stuff like that.
So it's all like a lot of that, right? Is like the title of the song. Desmond Child. I'm just reading one of his books, and he wrote "Living on a Prayer," and
wow.
He's talking about all these different song titles, and they're nothing's hitting me. Your love's like bad medicine. Everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's like great. What I mean by that is great. He said he starts with the song title.
Oh, yeah.
And yours on this sounds just like. I mean, you have,
Oh, yeah,
like Boy What a Girl. That's so
Yeah.
cool, right?
For me, usually it starts with the title. Some people it starts with melody, though. I mean,
to this day, it still starts with the title. You just have to.
for me it does. That's kind of my method. Now I have had a few of them come along where it's like I wrote one for my wife called All the Time. I
Yeah,
call it
it's a great song.
Serena's song. It's one of my newer ones. It's going to be on my next record due out 2036. But but for that one it was just the music. You know, it was just
That was music first. On
yeah. If I had a guitar, I'd play it for you. But I mean, it was just neat. I was like, we got to get some words to this. So I went and saw Dennis, and Dennis is the person I've been collaborating with the most in Nashville, and just love how we write together. And we ended up coming up with almost all of Give It Hell Try.
Yeah, I definitely want to
me and Dennis.
get to there.
Oh,
get
no.
to that.
Take your time.
Get to there. Whatever.
We got nothing but time.
Anything else you want to say on this one? Does this one have Allison? Man, that's such a great song.
Oh yes, that's the
Presence
first song
of
that got
Love.
written for her.
Oh, for the
Allison
album?
was the first, and then I can't remember the
Enjoy
rest.
the ride, but you know what? Like
Love Might Be Blind might have been the next.
that's a great man. I love it.
But the funny thing about this record, though, at the time in country music, like if you listen to a lot of '90s country, it was like any of the upbeat songs, they'd all go whoa, whoa, and stuff like that. I mean, if you listen to this record,
Yeah.
you hear me do that.
You
like,
do, yeah.
Oh man, I do it so much. I go back and listen now. I'm like, oh no, 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 no.
You should throw one in there in 2036.
No
just come
doubt.
out,
2036,
woo!
my next record, I'm gonna be playing Sabrina's song. Whoa!
But you gotta give an old man like, oh.
Oh, I don't like I used to.
I'm not a good old. Yeah, I got more of these. So,
See, this picture should have been on the front. Even that one's a little better. You're like, no, it's not. But
That's good, man. When you get this artwork back, did you love it right away? So they said, "Here, this is the album cover, Kurt. What you think?"
oh, I thought it was amazing.
You're like, how
I
did
was
you
like,
get that
this is-
roller coaster on the cover?
No
man?
doubt. Back then, that's oh man, it was and the funny part is like now my wife does this. You know, she can make records and all this stuff. She made the Give It Hell Try and makes it look real good. And this
She
guy,
does. She
his
does
name was
pretty
Andy. He was incredible. I think it was more me that kind of led us astray on this one. You know.
Giving Andy a little roast, man.
No, Andy did
Give him-
great.
yeah, he did
It was
good,
my
man.
fault. I had to he did the best he could with what he had to work with.
It stinks though, but you. It stinks because you have great songs on here, man. You don't
Oh,
want it
thanks,
to
brother.
overshadow that.
Thank you. This is such a long time ago. That old Takamania, I didn't even realize I was leaning on that.
You still have that?
No, I don't. I wish I did. It got lost in the shuffle.
It did. Did the jacket get lost?
No, I still got the jacket.
Nice.
Still got the jacket. Believe it or not, one of my favorite movies, in the first, it was Rocky. Rocky wears a jacket exactly like that.
Cool.
I am no Rocky.
Turn up the radio.
I love this record.
Lee Davis still helping you?
He's still helping
This
me.
is your guy, Lee
Oh
Davis.
yeah, big time. What started this record, I think? What was it? It was The Effect Is Love. I wrote during
Cause Is You.
We
Good
had
song,
just finished Enjoy the Ride, and I wrote The Effect Is Love and The Cause Is You, and he was like, "We got to do another record. It's too late to get it on this one." So that was the song that helped me get another.
How does that hit
Another
you?
record.
How do you come up with that? I mean, you're just like doing your normal thing, and something pops in your brain, like
Back then, all my writing was done in the car. Anytime I was driving, I was sitting there just racking my brain, trying to come up with another.
how'd you write it? Do you write it down when it comes to?
Nah, if it's good enough, you'll remember it.
Ah,
And I was just good enough for me. But I mean, if I think it's good enough, I will,
Do you ever have something you're like, man, that was great, and I don't remember it?
Man. No. If the most frustrating is where you think you got something wonderful. You're like, this is the greatest thing since Crazy by Patsy Cline. You get home and you play on it, you take it out in public and play it, and nobody responds. It's like, okay, well, I guess I didn't have such a great thing after all.
Vice versa, though.
That,
Do you ever
happens a lot.
Do you ever have people loving stuff that you're like, you like that song?
Oh man, I sat on "Give You My Coat."
Yeah,
I
great.
sat on that thing for a year before I ever played it live. 6 months to a year, but I was just like, I didn't think it was as strong. And then I played it out one time at Rose and Crown, and man, people just loved it. I was like, okay,
That's good.
maybe it's a good song. I was like, you never know what's gonna tickle the fancy of the public. It's just like, you just never know.
Yeah. Hey, do you ever take music to Sabrina and you think it's great, and
I
she's
take
like,
everything to.
Did she ever just say,
No,
good.
but the reason I take everything to her is she is not a music person at all. She is.
Oh yeah.
No, she is not into music, but I love that. I love that about her. I know she loves me for me. It ain't for my voice. It's not because I can write songs or anything.
That
like
sounds like a song. She loves me for me.
She likes me for me.
There you go.
Yeah, that's already been done. That's another tough part of songwriting is finding something that hasn't already been done or been done. You got to pick obscure that, just.
Yeah.
But I guarantee somebody's written a song like it at some point in time.
Yeah, that's true.
But
That's a good point.
But yeah, I take everything to her because I'm like, if she gets excited about it, and whenever I wrote Kickback, I took that to her and she was like, I love it. She's like, play that out every show you do. And I was like, okay. I was like, I got excited because I was like, she's not a music person. And if you can grab the ear of somebody that's not a music person,
Good point.
then on the radio, it tends to, if it's catchy enough, it can grab people.
You sent that song to Wyatt, didn't you? Good Kickback.
Oh, I sent it to everybody.
I feel like
I've sent that
Here,
thing
let's talk about that.
everywhere.
This is not Kickback. It's Kickback's on you, right?
Kickback's
Yeah,
on.
that's the starting
Kickback's
song on
on
here.
there.
Here, I'll trade you.
It'll
in.
be on my 2036 record too.
What I want to talk about yeah, there you go. What I want to talk about though is this album cover Sabrina was a part of.
Yes, this is whenever she started doing my records. I got my Superman watch.
This looks.
Zach
is so
gave me
much
this
better.
guitar too, the J200. That was a nice gift, and I didn't want to do it. I was getting to that age where I was like, man, I got to show I still have hair, but I love my Dr. Pepper hat. That thing finally just fell apart. I just wore it to death. But
I feel like everything got better with this record. I mean,
thanks,
did you
bro.
work with Lee Davis on this album?
I did.
So he's
still writing. I mean, it's a rule of life. The more you do it,
Yeah, you just evolving.
You're gonna get a little better at it. The more you do it. I feel like this is as cocky as Kurt Thomas ever gets, but I feel like my songwriting is the strongest right now that it's ever been.
Wow.
Because I just, I keep writing. I feel like the more you do something, the better you're gonna get at it. So, just like you were talking about your interviews, you're like, you hate to watch the first one, but it doesn't hurt as bad now because you've gotten better. The more you do it, it's just gonna keep getting better.
Wow, good point. But yeah, so this great album
But
too,
a
man.
lot of these songs I wrote alone, and I wrote them in Smyrna, Georgia. And I was a stay-at-home dad at the time. And I would sit there, and I called it, Bo is my first son, and Van was my second. And stay-at-home dad with both of them, and my wife was working at Channel 2 at the time. And I called it Bo's Rockin' Lunch Hour. And I'd sit there and feed him his food, and I'd leave him in his high chair for a minute, and I'd sit there and play guitar. I was like, perfect audience. He can't run away. I'd sit there and I'd strum to him, and believe it or not, like the where is it? The Mighty America. I remember playing the Mighty America for him, and anytime I'd go, that's right, and start playing, and it's a line in the song. He would laugh every time he'd go, ha, like that. I was like, I'm gonna leave that in there. But I wrote them all in the kitchen.
Oh, that's
basically.
cool.
Well, like Bo's Rockin' Lunch Hour. I wrote all of these songs.
When you did this album, didn't you open up for some pretty big names, right? Like
yeah.
You were doing like some like what were like little on I can't remember, some kind of competition and
Oh
stuff.
man, I got so lucky. But it was
Was it like Brad Paisley and stuff?
no, it was Kenny Chesney.
Kenny Chesney, okay.
Kenny Chesney. I got to hang out with Brad and stuff, but that's because of my manager Tom was good. Helped him out a long time ago get where he was going.
That's cool.
And but it was called Kenny Chesney's Next Big Star
Yeah, I remember
contest,
that. Yep.
and they were all competing at the Hard Rock Cafe. Were you there that night?
No, I was at the beach. that night.
You missed
I
a good
remember
night.
that.
That was a magical night. Man, it was, we all showed up to compete. They picked four bands to compete. And it was just me and my guitar. I walked in and I thought that it was acoustic. I walk in and they're all hooking up their steel guitars, their fiddles, and I was like, I'm gonna get creamed. And then I go in there and I look at my dad and mom come down. And I was like, this is my cheering section for tonight. They were in the Hard Rock Cafe eating. I was like, Dad, they all brought bands and it's just me and my guitar. I'm gonna get creamed tonight. And he said, son, that'll just make it sweeter when you win. And he, if you choose this for a profession, I've done a million competitions and losing is just part of the game. You're going to get your heart broke a lot. I mean, every musician knows that. You take on that profession, prepare to get your butt kicked a lot. But, you know, my parents had to see me lose a lot, and my dad, I hated that he had always seen me lose at these things, but he'd always support me, you know. He'd come and watch him hand it to somebody else, you know. But that,
at least he supported you, man.
But that there. Night, man, whenever I got up there, and I'm telling you, half of Dahlonega showed up. They all came, and I mean, all I did was put it out. I think it was MySpace at the time. Put it out, guys, I'm competing to get to open up for Kenny Chesney tonight. If you'd like to, I'll be at the Velvet Underground at the Hard Rock Cafe. Man, it was lined out the door. I mean, just people coming to support me.
What song did you play again?
I got to play 4 songs. I played, it was ones off. I hadn't even wrote Kickback.
6 String and a Prayer, right?
Hadn't even wrote Kickback yet. I wrote, I finished with Mighty America, Follow Your Lead, Daddy's Girl, and something else. I don't remember. But man, whenever they called my name at the end, man, it was so nice. Like my wife, she tackles me from the side, like she just like hugged me, and man, it was so nice. And like my dad got to see that before.
Dude, you're making me wish I was there.
Why
didn't I go?
Oh man, before he passed away, I'm so glad he got to see me win at something.
That's amazing.
It was a good night. So that was a good moment.
That's amazing.
The whole next day was like if you're an opener, like at a concert, man, you're not always treated so well. You know, you're like thrown over on the back burner. You're like, we got the important guy to take care of. So, you know, you don't even hardly get a sound check or anything.
Yeah.
You don't get a dressing room, so you're kind of waiting in the hallway the whole time. And there's my wife sitting there with me the whole time.
Sweet.
You know, but it was a good, I mean, it was still a good day, but that night, the night was something. And
like
Kenny Chesney came out and played on my guitar. The Larrabee, we played Good Company on.
When you did that, man, like how nervous were you? I
was terrified.
Yeah.
Terrified.
When you're a singer too, when you're terrified, did it feel like your voice shows?
Oh yeah,
too,
absolutely. Absolutely. The problem was a singer needs, at least this one, needs rest. I mean, you gotta have some rest or your voice will start wavering a little bit. Like I try to stay as rested as I can, even though that's not easy with 14 babies, but just 4. But I mean, it's that next morning on that stage, like that night, I'd had my rest, so I didn't really expect to win. I was just like, I'll go in there, probably lose again. So I was rested. So I went in there and I nailed it. But the next day on the main stage, it was, I could feel because I didn't sleep a wink. They're like, if somebody says, tomorrow you're going to play in front of 20,000 people by yourself, you know, you're like, sleep doesn't come so good that night, you know, but it was still, I got through it. It was just, thank God it was 4 songs, so I was able to get my voice through it.
Can you find this on YouTube, like all this?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I gotta watch it.
You gotta dig, man. You really gotta dig for it.
And that reminds me, me and you did it was before this, but me and you did a commercial for Acura.
Oh yeah, that was at the Jazz Fest in New Orleans, man. Yes. We got in that the car. It's an Acura.
Me and Stoney.
Yes, and we were walking through the line, and
you said, just go with it. Man.
I said, I looked
what
at
are we
you.
Gonna do?
They're like, we're gonna make a commercial with you 3 boys, and I looked at y'all 2, and I was like, guys, just follow me. I get in the car, Acura Sally. I start singing, and you're in the back. Come on now.
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
Break it down. And they
Break
zoom in on my face. I'm like,
oh yeah, whenever you said break it down, you go, break it down now. I was like, yes.
Keep in mind, we had probably about 30 beers, and it was about 100-degree weather.
Oh yeah, we just watched Joe Cocker.
Yeah.
And Dr. John.
Yeah.
Both of them have passed on now.
And well, when that happened, they didn't have YouTube, so I'm like, I mean, I would die to see that.
Oh man, haven't you looked for that?
I've looked everywhere for it. I've given up.
It ain't out
like,
there,
Acura,
man. They erased that thing.
Yeah.
But they did
we
send
almost
it.
won.
They sent it to us.
Yeah, and they said copyrights or something.
It was because of the Mustang Sally. You wasn't able to do that.
So
I should have made up a song in there, and we probably would have won.
We should have.
What did you win? A car? Because that would have been awesome.
Probably an Acura Sally.
I doubt
it. Your next album, give it a hell try. And yeah, Sabrina did an amazing.
Story of my life.
Awesome. Yeah.
Give it a
Great title, man. Great title. And
yeah,
Sabrina
and if you look,
yeah,
if you look close, you could see like, it's like live music, Levon Thomas and Bowen Van. Like she put our kid's name, Jolene's is the name of my little girl's name. But I thought that was so cool. She drew all this.
Yeah, man, that's amazing.
And
like,
imposed
even
me
the
in there.
shadow, and she did a great job, man.
Because the picture, I'm actually in Cabbage Town in Atlanta.
Wow.
And she took because have you ever been to Cabbage Town?
No.
It's great for pictures. Great for pictures. I mean, it's just a very cool looking part of Atlanta. And we went over and took pictures, and she was just like, we're kind of going for the Nashville thing right here. And so she just took me with her graphic expertise, cut me out of there and drew a whole cartoon land, and then ended up putting me in there. And they even she had to draw like the shadow in and all that stuff.
Yeah, man, she does work for me too, you know. I mean, it's just amazing. Like,
oh yeah, didn't she do your t-shirts?
She does them all, yeah.
She did this shirt.
She did that shirt,
She did
man.
this shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah,
You wouldn't believe how many people come up to me and they're like,
they're like, you must love your song, Good Company.
yes.
Man.
And I'm like, actually, it's a buddy of mine, Scott Bolin, and they'll go watch the show. They're like,
that's
I love
cool.
it, man.
And that's the title song on the album, Good Company, right?
It's the first, yeah.
First song, yeah, not
First
title song, first song, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted the album to start off with just kind of a happy,
Great song, man.
something that kind of describes me, and I'm stupidly happy. So
I love your videos on here, like Sweet, and having like your whole family in there.
Oh,
It's
man,
kinda
that
like
was
a good yearbook
that
for you.
video to
Memories.
me was one thing that if I'm so glad I did. So glad I did that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
that song and that, I mean, it wasn't even my song. It's Jay Drummond's song. I mean, I had to modify it a little bit to fit my life, but totally credit to Jay. He wrote an incredible song. It was only song on the record I didn't write, but
Oh, really?
but sweet, man, that video that we shot, it was like caught my family in time. It was like, this is better than any photo album I could ever have. I was like, this is perfect. You know, so we shot a lot of it at a concert I did in Dahlonega.
It's about 8,000 degrees that day.
Oh man, it was so hot, so hot.
I love the song Fishing too. You wrote that about your dad.
My dad and my brother, because they'd go to Dr. I went with them several times. You know, I wasn't as much of a fisherman as
me either.
as Kevin and my dad, but you know, I enjoy it now more than I did. I just didn't have the patience, but I was kind of a dreamy kid, always often daydreaming, off in La La Land. You know, I think I was born to be a musician. I just found it a little later than most.
When you did, you added. I just noticed that you added kickback to this album as well.
I did. Because we were pushing to Nashville, and whenever we had shopped all the songs around Nashville, a lot of them had said like kickback. Like that's the one. That's a party song. So.
Were you working a lot with Dennis on this morning?
Oh yes, Dennis was like, he would meet me halfway, like in Chattanooga. We'd get a hotel room, separate hotel rooms, and then we would just write.
One bed.
One
room.
No, those aren't pillows.
Why'd you just kiss my ear?
Why are you holding my hand? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah,
It's a great
God, I love
movie.
that movie.
Great Thanksgiving movie. But yeah, we would get a hotel room, and we'd just write all night, man. Just write songs. And before we knew it, we had a record, like, really quick. So, you know, and he texted me the other day. He's been in France and New York right now, and I think he's about to be back, and we're going to start writing some more. I got about 6 songs for the next record.
That's awesome, man.
And I'd like to get about 4 more. And
Yeah.
I just have to really love them before I put them on a record.
Well, I can't wait to hear them. Yeah. After this, you did a Christmas album.
Yes. Are the songs on the back?
It's on
Yes.
the back.
Away in a Manger, I wrote that back.
You did
I'm
that?
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Old man.
But Silent Night, I wrote that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Away in a Manger?
No, I've always been a sucker for the classics when it comes to the Christmas songs. I just love them. And Jimmy White played on this with me. And believe it or not, a lot of those old Christmas songs are like old jazz songs, so they got a million chords in them. And so I was like, oh, geez Louise, I've bit off more than I can chew here.
Oh, okay.
And,
Yeah.
But Jimmy, my lead guitar player at the time, he was like, let me sit down and say, like the Christmas song, he could hit all those bloom, bloom,
Yes.
like where it looks like your fingers are doing this. And I'm like, oh man. Because I mean, I'm a decent guitar player, but I was never a great guitar player. I mean, I'm enough to fool you. But you know, like,
Would you ever like put down the guitar and just sing?
I've done it.
You have to, it's kind of a comfort thing.
It is a comfort thing, but I've done it a lot. Like whenever we play that funky music or some of those at weddings, I'll put down a guitar and dance along because it makes them get up and start dancing along and having a good time and stuff.
Oh, that's
like
cool. Okay, so I got a couple more questions for you. Your band, can you talk about them? Because you have a really solid group, Taylor and...
Oh, Taylor.
Yeah, I love all your guys. My mind's just going blank right now.
No, Taylor. Taylor's been with me a long time.
Who's your drummer? I can't. My
Derek.
Derek. Yes, I love Derek.
Ingram. He's the longest running member right now. I remember whenever he came in, I was playing in Loganville at American Tavern. I was working with Francisco Vidal, and he was sending me. I was new on the scene. I'd be like, Francisco, I'm doing a 3-piece tonight. Can you send me a drummer? He goes, have you one right over? And he sends me Derek. And he had sent me several drummers, and I was just like, But this drummer, man, and I went through a bunch of construction to get there, road work. It took me forever. Finally and he got caught in that construction, that traffic jam. He must have called me 30 times before that show started. He goes, I promise I'll be there. I'll be there. I'm not like that. I'm never late. I promise I'll be there. I was like, brother, it's okay. He didn't know how laid back I was yet. And I was like, brother, it's all right. I can hold him till you get here. I can do some acoustic stuff. I get in there, I play one song. Then I start to play Folsom Prison, and I see him come through the door carrying drums. By the time I finished Folsom Prison Blues, he already had that drum set up, and was like, and he was playing. Within the first few measures, I was like, that's my drummer. I was like, that's him. I was like, not too fancy. He just does what needs to be done, and I was just like, that's him. I was like, that's my drummer.
Reliable and solid.
Yes, and. Oh yeah, and chemistry. I know everybody talks about chemistry, but chemistry goes so far. Like if you working with people you just don't enjoy being around, it can just like destroy the night. I mean, just kill it. I mean, and you can have players, who aren't studio level good, but you have chemistry together. I remember Huey Lewis and the News, one of my favorite groups ever.
Oh yes.
Huey Lewis goes, separately, none of us were that great. He goes, but you put us together. He goes, and something special happened every time. And, I've always kind of tried to live by that motto. I was just like, play with people you enjoy playing with, because if you don't, it ain't worth it. It's just a big pain.
When you go and record, would you ever bring all the guys in and not use because you use Nashville fellas, don't you?
Yes. I mean, believe it or not, most of them tend to not even, playing studio is like a whole different animal. They're all on click tracks, and they're amazing. I mean, just polished, and so it's like my guys are usually like, no, let them do it, and we'll learn it. We'll go out and play it, because the guy who's on the stage, if they're on the studio, they're not getting much of the glory. The guys on the stage, they're getting people cheering for them and stuff like that. And I'm like, they're like, I want to learn these songs, because you go in there, I go in with good company, just me strumming. Next thing I know, they've got me a riff, they got me all this other stuff, and I'm like, all right, now we got a song, baby. So it's really cool, man. I love that.
And so you got your own. They don't make this anymore, but man, this stuff's. You talk about your own moonshine.
I got my own moonshine,
pecan.
Baby.
Pecan.
I got tons of it.
Dude, nice. I love your story when you tried all 50 flavors, and you said by the end you're
well, it was a company out of Charleston called Local Choice. And they were wanting to make a moonshine, and they knew I played so many different places. They were like, and they wanted to sell it to the places I play. And they're like, if we put your name on a moonshine, I was like, can we do it? I was like, yeah. I was like, absolutely. I was like, anybody wants to put my name on a liquor? Sure, let's do it. And so they sent me all these samples, like a million. They had some that were like lemon moonshine. Blueberry, it wasn't too bad. But either way, it was a lot of fun trying all these things. I'd bring buddies over. I was like, y'all come here, let's try this stuff. And we came down to pecan pie moonshine. And they, I think they recently have closed down the shop. It was in Charleston. And it was so cool that they made it with these mason jars.
Yes, it's really cool.
And she was like, I got a ton of moonshine. It's like, you want it? I was like, yeah, I want it. So I go down to Moonshine, load up my Ford Freestyle, man. I had no idea how heavy a just liquid and glass can be, because my car was like,
you were
the whole way back from Charleston, man. I was bootlegging, man.
Bootleg,
I was bootlegging.
Yeah.
I was eastbound and down.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be northbound and down or something. But still, I got so much moonshine now.
Yeah, I heard it's not that strong. No, I'm just
Ooh,
kidding.
that stuff will
My dad
crank you.
drank that
That'll
and he
crank
used
your
to do
car, son. That's good stuff.
So, when's your new record gonna be out? Can you guess? I mean, is it next year, 2020, or is it?
I'm not really. Believe it or not, a big part of being an independent artist is finding like financing for records, and stuff like that.
What if
my friend Drew Tutton, he financed Give It Hell Try, and I met him. I played his 4th of July party, and I could tell he'd done well in life. I was like, man, he was like, and I was like, hey man, if you and that's how I approach things. I'm like, if you'd ever want to, finance a record, please let me know. And he ended up calling me. He was like, God's been good to me. It's time for me to give back a little bit.
That's amazing.
And so he financed that record and everything. So, I'm hoping, by the time I get the next one wrote, I can get some finance for the next record.
Would you release a couple of songs at a time on Spotify?
Sure.
Yeah, I know a lot of bands do that.
Brother, I'm not opposed to anything.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm a roll with the flow kind of guy. He's like, you should try this. I'm like, okay, let's try it. Let's try it. And I'm like, because I've learned that through my life that just saying yes, like, hey man, you should try doing your own little show of this. I'm like, well, okay.
Talk about that. You got a new show that's coming out.
I do.
What's the name of it?
It's going to be called Kurt Thomas and the Traveling Miss Martin.
Nice.
And I have my good friend Ed from up in Philadelphia. My good friend Ed, and I think his grandfather passed it down to him. Before that, it's kind of a mystery where it's from, but it's a Martin guitar made in 1846, made by C.F. Martin himself and his son. And it's just a piece of history. And what I've been doing is people will book me like in Kentucky, or they'll book me in Defesky Island off of Hilton Head, or I take that guitar with me and I'll do an episode and record, and I'll talk about where I'm at. Whenever I did the Cumberland Gap, I talked about Daniel Boone and Thomas Walker going through the trails and stuff like that. And then then I played Wagon Wheel. They're only like little 5-minute videos, something like that. But it's just something neat that I'm the first episode I'm in Dahlonega on the square, and I'm playing a song I wrote about Dahlonega called I'm Just Country. And I talk about the way it was growing up in Dahlonega, but I'm kind of going through my history with a piece of actual history.
Oh, cool.
I'm toting it along with me, and just.
I love it, man.
And
this is a YouTube show, right?
It's going to be.
It's
going to be. I mean, it's going to be on all social media and all that stuff.
I like how you're doing this, because you have a bunch of episodes and then you'll slowly release.
Yeah.
Unlike this show where I just live by them. I'm like, December's coming. I got to record this episode. That's smart, man. You got patience.
Yeah. Well, it's not as much patience as it's just I don't have with 4 kids and I'm playing every night. I'm like, I wish I had the time to go and like just release an episode. That's all right. Next week I'll go record another, release it. But I'm like I don't have the time for it because I'm always playing, and if I'm not playing, I'm with the family, and so it's.
Do you edit these videos, or do you?
My buddy Kevin Martz up in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And Sabrina's going to be doing some of the artwork on them and stuff like that.
Oh, that's great.
But I'm really excited about it. Anytime you start on a new
I can't
venture,
wait to see it.
you get excited.
We're going to do an
about
episode of it, right?
Yes, we are. Yes, today. We're going to record an episode.
You told me I'm making it in season 1, probably season 2, right?
Sure.
Am I going to make it in season 1?
You might make it in season 1, bro.
Nice, bro.
You might be there.
But dude, I appreciate it, man. 50 episodes
brother,
in.
50. Dude, you're doing so good.
Thank you,
I'm so
brother.
proud of you,
Thank you for inspiring me to do this. Thank you that we got to play a song today.
No,
good company.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's good to be in good company.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Yes.